Hey, good evening, and welcome to the Uptown Parlay Podcast. Now, your host, Ace.
Recording this computer. Welcome to the Uptown Parlay Podcast. We got Ace and Malik this episode.
What's up? What's up, man?
You know what's up? Thursday night football and the Jets beating the Pats.
Yeah, it's amazing how how long it's been since the Jets have
Well, they beat them last year, but
Pats.
wait, did they or did they lose to them last year?
I don't like. Recall. I remember like there was a stat this morning and folks were talking about like how it's not just like that they've beaten them,
Yeah,
but like that they've been better than them and being able to beat them multiple times, like beating them consistently.
yes.
It's been like, it's been a lot. Like I was like, there's like a whole generations of people that don't remember that will never recall when the Patriots were a bad football team and the Jets
Yeah.
were just manhandling them all the way up until like really like the Parcells era, right?
Yeah.
And then they got real good under Parcells for a little bit, went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but 96 to 2000 was like low for them.
Yeah. So like after the Parcells era, then they went down because then Parcells came to the Jets.
They hired Pete Carroll.
And they hired Pete Carroll and all that.
Yeah.
And then after that, between that and then Brady, like there's like a 4 or 5 year stretch. Then Brady comes in 01, and then the rest is history. But when he becomes a starter, right? So
and 22 straight years of just
yeah.
Although when they went to the AFC title game 2 years in a row, that was 09 and 2010. They beat them every one of those years. They split.
Yeah, like they were not the dominant team, right?
But they won.
Yeah.
They just never won that division.
Yeah, and then they didn't cash it in when they actually won those playoff games. They didn't cash it in and go get themselves a Super Bowl,
No, but
But
you did have Mark Sanchez as your quarterback, so
that's true.
What'd you expect?
But that is true.
Like
that is true. Mark Sanchez was playing against was that against Manning? That was one of those years was against Peyton.
1 year was against Peyton, and the other year was against the Steelers when they went on to win. That was Roethlisberger.
So they lost to Roethlisberger and Peyton Manning. I mean, there's no harm in that. I mean, there's no shame in that. So,
2 Hall of Famers. But we're gonna talk about USC and Michigan. 2 coaches with expectations. USC is undefeated. Michigan's already lost 1 to a Texas team that looks like they're going to be possibly winning the SEC. I don't know of a team legitimately that has looked better in the SEC aside from maybe Tennessee or Georgia, which this would be a good year for Texas to still be in the Big 12, but I guess they wanted more money, so they got it.
Georgia hasn't played anybody yet, so
Oh no, they played Clemson.
What it's worth.
They made Clemson.
No. I don't want to hear that.
They beat them 63-3.
Clemson was 48. Clemson was ranked by name alone at that time.
No, they were ranked because they won 9 games last year. They went 9.
They were ranked by name. They were ranked by name because the team was not that good.
But they were returning all their sorry players, so they assumed they improved with experience.
And they were huge dogs against Georgia. It's not like this was a neutral site game. Like everyone knew that they were going to smoke Clemson.
Allegedly, they played in Atlanta.
Smoke Clemson with people that went to Clemson, and the Georgia fans that wanted to say, "Well, we're playing Clemson." I didn't want to hear that crap.
It does matter.
Clemson, and they did.
Did you think Clemson was that bad that they wouldn't score?
Yes. I knew they were going to get stomped, and I told people they were going to get stomped, and you was like, you guys need to stop acting like Clemson. Clemson is a big deal. They don't have Trevor Lawrence anymore. They don't have Deshaun Watson anymore. They don't have the better quarterback situation, and Dabo Swinney is overrated as a head coach. Like those things are true.
Wow.
So therefore, they were not going to. I knew they were going to get smoked, and I told people they're going to get smoked.
Man's won 2 national titles, and you telling me he's overrated?
Yeah, he's overrated. He had 2. He had some great quarterback play. He no longer has that.
Okay.
And that's it.
All right.
I mean,
well, let's focus on USC and Michigan.
Right.
USC beat LSU.
Yep.
Michigan has beaten nobody of note.
Well, they won a ranked game. What was it? Were they ranked? No, did they play a ranked opponent? Who they play that first week?
I have no idea. I still got the Jets game up on the other screen.
Was it A&M?
Oh wait, did they play A&M? I don't even know. Hold on. Am I blanking here? I'm blanking. Find me some time.
They played uh they played A&M.
I
They
mean,
played Texas
you
A&M.
think
Texas
A&M was good?
A&M.
Because I
Yeah,
did
A&M was good at the time.
at the time, huh? Was that the first week of the season?
Yeah, because they played A&M, and then they played. Who
Michigan
they just
played
lose
Fresno
to?
State.
They're 1-1 right now.
They're 2 and
Or they're
1.
2-1.
They
They're
played
2-1.
Fresno State, then Texas, then Arkansas State. They did not play A&M. I don't know who you're thinking about. I don't follow Texas A&M because, well, they're not good. So I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, they spent a lot of money on trying to be good, but they're not good. Texas A&M lost to Notre Dame first week of the season, and then Notre Dame lost to NIU, which now gives
Yes, matter of fact, that's what I was looking at Notre Dame. I wasn't looking at Michigan. That was just my fault. Okay.
two similar colors, two very different schools, similar attitude
Yes.
people though.
Yes. Yes.
Very
Um,
body dog kind of, yeah. Um, Michigan's quarterback can't throw. Alex Orji, good last name, but yeah, he's thrown. I think he's thrown like less than 20 passes this year, or 30. This is their fourth game. He hasn't started every game, but he can run. USC has a great coach who figured out how to play get a reasonable defense. So I expect USC to kind of roll them. The fact that they were able to take care of LSU, whose defense should have improved, they blanked the bad teams that they should have. Like they didn't let Utah State score a point. They're coming off a bye week. They're going to these traditional Big Ten games. They're going to Michigan. So 110,000 people in Ann Arbor will see their team get spanked, and they're only minus 5.5. So they just got to win by a touchdown.
yeah.
So unless Michigan's defense comes up with an all-time stand here, or I don't know, maybe I'm just overestimating USC's quarterback play. I mean, the man's only thrown 2 touchdowns, who's starting for USC, but it appears they can run the ball. David Warren, Michigan's quarterback, has 6 picks and 2 TDs. 2 passing TDs, and Orgy is expected to start. So, yeah, they don't got a quarterback. So that's
I think if this game was played on a neutral field, it would be USC minus. Maybe you might almost damn near double this, right? If this was in USC or at least it's in a neutral field, you might be saying USC minus 10. That's just how shaky Michigan's offense has looked over the past, over these first couple of weeks of the season. They just don't look like they can generate any real offense. And when they play against a team that can score, that's hugely problematic. I mean, luckily they're in a conference of teams that don't really score very well. I mean, Ohio State's going to murder them, but
Michigan or USC?
no, Michigan. I'm saying Michigan plays in the Big Ten. They don't really. There's not a lot of teams in the Big Ten that are juggernauts in terms of scoring, right? So except Ohio State, who's going to absolutely destroy them. But when they play against competition that can score offensively, that's going to be a problem for them. So I imagine this is going to. I think you take this number now because it should. I would shoot this up to at least 7. USC minus 7. I would take this at any number between 5.5 and 7. So, yeah, I definitely like USC here.
All right. You don't think being on the home field advantage means a lot in college?
It does when you're good.
Well, as
and I don't even, the funny thing is I don't even say that to be
petty,
mean or
you
petty to Michigan because they legitimately lost like 13 starters on their football team
Yes.
to graduation of the NFL. Like,
Yeah.
they're not supposed to be very good right now. They're supposed to be a team that's rebounding and rebuilding.
That
And
loses the top 10 teams or top 15 teams. Yeah.
right, like this is supposed to happen to a team like this.
Yes.
They're supposed to, like, they lost their head coach. They lost a bunch of they had a bunch of transfers, and they lost like 13 starters on their team. Like, I'm not surprised that they're bad. They're not good right now.
Everything
The
except
fact
for the
that they're bad.
coach, I think, matters because Sharon Moore coached half the games last year on the way to the national title during the regular season.
But with a great team.
Yes, it's the players that they lost.
It's the players, right? That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yes.
you gave him, you didn't give him the same team. Like, if
Fair.
you gave him JJ McCarthy and Blake Corum and all of those guys, like, yeah, I would expect them to do a lot better. But that's not who he's playing with. So, you know, uh, I just hope they give him the leeway that to help build a program, rebuild the program.
Okay.
There.
That's fair. That's fair. The next game we were going to talk about is it going to be? Oh, actually, no, I don't think you looked this one up. Was it Utah versus Oklahoma?
I didn't have that one, but Oklahoma State, yeah, I didn't have that one.
Oh, well, it's two ranked schools.
Yeah.
Important Big 12 matchup because whoever wins this game will either likely be meeting up again or we'll see them in the championship for the Big 12. So whoever wins the Big 12 will be crowned. We'll be getting we'll get a bye and be a top 14 because I don't believe Washington State can get they can't get the conference championship because there's only two people in their conference this year in the Pac-12, which is rebuilding. So even if Washington State runs the table, which they most likely will after beating Washington, which means a lot, they can't get the top 4 seeds. So Oklahoma State, Utah, Cowboys versus, I have no idea what the Utah Utes, I think it's the Utes. Oklahoma State's -2.5 in Stillwater. Utah's quarterback is hurt, who's Cam Rising. I do not know if he will play. Based off of that, and Oklahoma State has one of the best running backs in college.
Yep.
Who's not named Ashton Jeanty. Ollie Gordon Jr., 216 yards, 4 TDs. Pretty good quarterback.
He had a huge season last year. Last year, he ran over 1,700 yards and had 20 touchdowns. Over 20 touchdowns. This will probably be his. He's having he's starting off a little bit better. He's starting off a little bit slow. Sorry, a little bit slower than last season. Last season was really his breakout year, but he's still a force to be reckoned with. So, I'm not too sure about the Utah team, but I did watch some the Oklahoma State game last week. And they are, like I said, both teams are 3-0, both teams are undefeated. So obviously this is a big game in their conference. And whoever wins this game likely has a pretty good hold on the conference title, which will mean a lot going into the playoff. So
Oklahoma State has a clear shot at getting there. Their coach is kind of a wild man, but Cam Rising is expected to play. So that will probably shift a lot of the money going towards Utah. Oklahoma State came back and beat Arkansas when they came to Stillwater the other day. So, and then they went to Tulsa and beat the brakes off of them. I guess for the in-state rivalry game, it kind of helps Tulsa, I guess, sell some tickets. But they are clearly not good enough, but we will see. I'm going with Oklahoma State in this one just because they're at home, and I think they're going to be able to pull it off, and I think they have a little bit better of a defense, although Utah is one of those teams in the Pac-12 last year that just kind of mauls you. They've been able to beat USC when they had Caleb Williams, but when they had him, they didn't have much of a defense, so they kind of upset them a couple of times throughout the years. What was the other game you wanted to talk about?
Tennessee and Oklahoma.
Tennessee, Oklahoma. That's a big one.
That's the big one. That's the big game.
Big one for that's the night game, right? That's the one that's on 7:30 on ABC.
Is it? Oh yeah. Okay. I wasn't sure what time it was. I just know I'm recording it.
Well, I mean, I know it's not at noon because, they're in Oklahoma, so they don't want to play at 11 a.m. And the whole point of these night games is that ESPN's paying all this money so that they can get all the eyes on it. So Saturday night, they want y'all on your TVs. Everybody from Tennessee is going to be getting liquored up for the past 9 hours from about 9 a.m. to 7 before they get in that stadium. So we'll see. FanDuel has it at 7.5. DraftKings has it at -6.5 for Tennessee. Oklahoma's at home dog. What you thinking?
Tennessee's really good, and a lot of people talk about their offense, but I think that probably one of their best attributes that doesn't get talked about a lot is they have a great defensive line, and that to me is the limiting factor here because I do think that Oklahoma's and we're always on Oklahoma to be a good offense, good solid offense, and and them being at home is obviously like you said home field advantage in college football is definitely big. Um, this is a situation where I think the home field advantage is definitely worth it because the team is good enough to kind of hold things down. So I think this game stays close, but I could see a touchdown victory here. So as long as it stays at 6.5, it doesn't bump up to like 7.5 or 8. I think at this point I'd be okay taking Tennessee. But if it got anywhere over a score, I'd be inclined to roll with Oklahoma and take the home dog here because how many times I can't remember the last time OU was getting points at home against anybody. So yeah, this is not a regular occurrence. So I feel good taking them. And I would if this line got anywhere over a score.
Well, I would like to point out Oklahoma beat Tulane last week 34-19. And their head coach is the former defensive coordinator at Clemson, which I think once he left, that's where the defense went. Is with
But
him.
don't sleep on the Green Wave. The Green Wave is I actually like them. The Green Wave, Tulane Green Wave. I mean, I love the name, right? But I don't sleep on Tulane. Tulane's offensively, they've actually been an interesting team so far this season. I've watched a couple of their games, so I'm not surprised that they were able to score on even on a school like Oklahoma. I think they can score on just about anybody. They can't defend anybody, but they can score on just about anybody.
Well, I'll tell you this: based on the 3 games that I've seen so far, they beat the brakes off of Temple. Temple's really bad. Sorry that they didn't cover last week. Uh, but if you listen to me, I did also tell you to bet Tennessee against Kent State. They beat them 71-0.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty confident they covered the spread, even if it was 55 points or 56 points. I went on that one. I think Tennessee's offense is just amazing. They beat NC State I think that was the opening. No, it wasn't the opening year. Second game of the year.
Second game of the season, yeah.
In Raleigh. They went into NC State to beat the brakes off of them 51-10. I don't expect them to score that many against Oklahoma, but yeah, I think that's going to be an issue. Oklahoma's they don't have a great offense. They have an okay offense. Dual threat QB, can run, can throw. So he might have a long day with that defensive line coming at him. The SEC is a different animal, and Tennessee is starting to finally get good. So we'll see. But I have a lot more faith in Tennessee, who legitimately looks like it's going to be. Unfortunately, they're in the SEC East, and I don't even know if they get that. Huh?
Well, there is no
East
West anymore. It's all one conference now.
Am I that old that I just forgot that, or is that
No? It's new this year.
Oh,
yeah.
Their biggest game of the year. Oh, they have 2 of them. They have 2 more huge games coming up against Alabama and Georgia. Every other game on the schedule after this is very winnable.
Yeah.
The messed up part is every other game they have is on the road. And then I'm sorry, I'm talking about Tennessee. Tennessee has Oklahoma, then October 19th, Alabama, and then November 16th against Georgia, at Georgia. Yeah. Those tickets are going to be through the roof. Maybe y'all can sell them, make some of that money back. So you pay that extra fee next year. And they've been complaining about that. So yeah, there's that. And my favorite SEC school, Vanderbilt, going to Missouri, getting 20.5 points right now in MGM. I have more faith in them because, they lost last week to Georgia State, which is very disappointing. Very disappointing because I wanted them to be undefeated at this point. But the fact that they've lost one game to a G5 school does not kill their chances, but it did steal their ranking. Everybody has them at 20 or 20 and a half. FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM, all the big books. Over under 53 and a half. I think Vanderbilt's going to cover that number. Missouri's been playing a lot of easy schools. Namely, I know because I watched them beat the brakes off of my UB Bulls. They gave up 21 to BC and had to come back and win that game. Won that game by 6. So either you think Boston College is way better than Vanderbilt, who beat Florida State, who Florida State has not won a game yet, or you think Vanderbilt's pretty good because they won their first 2 games at home, beat Virginia Tech, good win against ACC school, beat Alcorn State 55-0, and then let up on the road against Georgia State, who got their biggest win, I think, in school history against an SEC school that was 2-0. So
yeah,
I expect Missouri to win. I just don't expect them to win by 3 touchdowns. That's kind of more where I'm at with it. They have a capable quarterback. They got a good team. So unless he got hurt, I am not aware. He's thrown 4 touchdowns, no picks, 2 rushing TDs. So I believe they'll figure it out. And I'm not a big fan of Brady Cook. That guy's been in college forever. I believe he's a 5th-year senior. He didn't even throw for a touchdown pass against Buffalo. And, I know we're MAC school, but the MAC schools have been upsetting a lot of people, so we will see. Missouri did blank them, but they kind of ran all over them. So I don't expect Vanderbilt to get run over as usual. This team does not stink. They're kind of probably going to be a middle-of-the-road team. So take Vandy in those points. They're probably likely going to cover. We're going to take a little break, and we're going to come back with our NFL picks. And we're back. All right, we are going to start with
Rodgers. He is cooking right now.
He really is. He's out here daily.
He's on those drugs. He better not take that test tomorrow.
What is this? The ayahuasca, whatever that's called.
Yeah. That's what I think he was. He said it before that he was on that before.
I like how you trying to pretend like you don't know what that is. Ant is joining us.
I don't know what it is.
He feels that confident in his team that he's willing to join the pod while the Jets is on. We're going to start with Green Bay at Tennessee. I like this game because Tennessee is 0-2 and Green Bay is 1-1. Malik Willis is likely to play again. They cleared Jordan Love to start practicing, right? The doctors have cleared him. Yeah. I think they're going to hold them out because I think they want to make sure he doesn't re-injure himself. One of the lowest over-unders of the week, 37.5 points, which is a little bit low for an NFL team. Green Bay is getting 2.5 on the road from FanDuel and all the other sports books. So what do you think, Malik? Because I'm leaning towards Green Bay here because I don't see Tennessee finding a semblance of an offense.
Well, that too. And this is revenge game written all over it. This is the revenge of the revenge game.
Oh, Malik Willis. Yeah.
Dude, this is, Malik Willis coming back to play Tennessee in Tennessee. Right? Like he's playing on the road and he's starting for another team against the team that
probably still got close there. He ain't even fully moved into Green Bay yet.
Exactly. This is one of those. You're right, Ace. He's probably going to pick up some of his stuff like that he left when his fight to Green Bay. I like Green Bay here as well. I feel like I did happen to watch some of the game last week. I was pulling for Malik Willis and them to get their shit together and get a win. I did feel bad for them when Jordan Love went down, but they looked like they were, rallying around defensively. They rallied around the fact that that game was gonna have to be a game that they won on that side of the football. Malik Willis was going to have to not make mistakes and just put them in position to score just enough points for them to get the win. And I think that's the same formula, the same format. Malik Willis did exactly what a backup quarterback is supposed to do: come in, don't muck it up, and we can win out right here. Tennessee, they played another weird game. Let's say that's probably the best way to put it. The game against Chicago was a weird game where they were up 17-3 and then they lost the game late. And like Will Levis was throwing the ball all over the field, throwing the ball to everybody except his players. Like, if you didn't know any better, you'd almost feel like it was rigged. Um, week one. And then week two was much of the same. Like they just didn't look good. They just haven't looked good. They've looked good in spurts, but not for the whole game. And Green Bay is a good football team. You're gonna have to play a complete game to beat them, and Tennessee hasn't done that as of yet. So I lean the Packers here as well, and Malik Willis getting some semblance of revenge. So I would say the Packers and the under.
Okay. The only thing that I'm really paying attention to are there's a bunch of players that are listed with injuries. Josh Jacobs is listed with an injury to his back, although he's logged a limited practice today. They're going to need him in order to win this game. I'm genuinely shocked that Vegas let him go, but they wasn't going to pay him, so he went to where he could get paid. The biggest thing is Tennessee's starting running back Tajay Spears has an ankle injury, which has limited him. L'Jarius Sneed and Jeffrey Simmons are both listed with injuries or they're getting rest for the Tennessee Titans. So they know they're going to have to lean on their defense. As long as Malik Willis doesn't make any crazy turnovers, I think Green Bay just has the better defense and the better run game. So this may not be a great game you want to watch unless you're a Packers fan, but I don't expect them to lose. Like, there's really nothing giving me faith in the coach is just coming out and saying, yeah, he's making bowl-in plays. Like, we don't know what we don't know what Will Levis is doing. So it's giving me no faith to pick them. So I'm going with the Packers, and this is going to be my first lock of the week. And
yeah, I'm back. All right, yeah, I'm gonna have to go. You pick the Tennessee as well, right?
No, you pick Packers.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
For the lock.
So I'm gonna have to go against y'all on this one. I understand what y'all talking about. Quite the Packers are a good team, and what's the name is definitely a good coach, and he's definitely turning around Malik Willis, and this is definitely seemed like a good Malik Willis revenge game and stuff like that. But this is Tennessee; they're at home. Tennessee might be having a horrible offense, especially with Mr. Mayonnaise here, but they had to been slapping them around the head this whole week across the head to stop effing up. So one thing people don't talk about that much with Tennessee is that they actually have a good defense. And I really think their defense is going to pull through on this one. So give me Tennessee under in this one. I really have to go this opposite way on this one, unfortunately. I really hoping I'm wrong that Malik Willis pulls us through. And I'm actually going to change my pick on this one. I'm going to make this my first lock of the week. I'm going to get rid of one of my other ones I had written down.
So you're going against me on some just because, huh?
No. I thought about it while you guys was talking about it, but
yeah.
Ant did see Tennessee play the Jets last week, and so he had seen them firsthand.
They're actually one of the best defenses in the league, and I can see why.
Tennessee?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was actually looking for them in fantasy earlier.
They spent a lot of money on that side of the ball, so in fairness, yeah, they should be. They should be good.
If Will Levis actually smartens up, if Will Levis actually just plays a little bit better and stop trying to play hero ball, they would have actually won those 2 games.
Oh,
they'd be 2-0 right now.
Well, are they getting open? Because I know Hopkins is playing with a knee sprain.
Not even if they're getting open, it's just like those plays that he screwed up on.
Yeah,
if you just threw the ball away.
He has receivers. I'll give them that. Right. They prepared him and gave him some real receivers. They still got Hopkins and they still have Ridley. Or they got Ridley. So,
I mean, they old as dust, but still, they're quite. If he actually plays within the system, they might actually have a chance. But I for some reason, I think they're going to pull this through. Because another thing is that they know Malik Willis already. They had him in camp for a minute. But we'll see.
Next, we're going to get into Houston Texans at Minnesota Vikings. One of the 6 undefeated teams in the league, or the 2 undefeated matchups, I should say, more accurately. Houston 2-0, going to Minnesota that's 2-0. Malik, who do you like in this one?
I like this Houston Texans team a lot. I've seen them now, a couple of times. I saw them. Obviously, I saw them again in their win against you guys last week. Over the weekend. Sunday Night Football, and they looked good there. Defensively, they looked really good. They got after it, and I was surprised that Caleb Williams, was able to take that level of punishment. They made the offensive line in Chicago look pretty bad in some of those moments. And then against Indianapolis, which is a really good team, a good opponent for them, right? In terms of like division rival. Anthony Richardson is difficult to handle. They were able to make some plays on that side as well. But they're 0-2 against the spread, right? They were 6.5-point favorites against Chicago. They didn't cover that. They didn't cover the 3 against Indianapolis. So they seem to be a little bit snake bit on the point spread side of this. And for that reason alone, I'm gonna go ahead and take Minnesota. Minnesota's getting to 2.5 points on some books at home. And I think that this is a pretty good spot for them to keep the game close. The thing I worry a little bit about with respect to Minnesota are the offensive injuries that they seem to be dealing with. Both Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison appear to be questionable at this point. One or both of them may miss the game. If that happens, then I'm obviously going to be fading Minnesota here, and I would be going the other way with Houston. But I think if one or both of those receivers play and Sam Darnold has his full complement of offensive weapons on his team, then I think that they can keep pace with Houston, who hasn't shown yet. They've shown the ability to win close games. They haven't yet shown the ability to like really dominate anything yet. So I think this is a good, solid matchup. Two teams that are both on the upswing in this respective season, and we're catching Minnesota at a good time. We're catching good Minnesota, which doesn't always happen. They seem to be a first half football team, first half of the season football team, and so we're catching good Minnesota. So I take Minnesota if those guys are playing. If they aren't, then I really like this number at 2.5 for Houston. So I think that they'll be able to cover this with a 3-point victory, 3 to 6 point victory.
I agree with you completely. There's nothing about Minnesota or Sam Darnold that gives me confidence in them beating a good Houston team, even if they're coming to them. Houston just seems more prepared, and they signed Danielle Hunter, who Minnesota didn't want to give a big contract to. So I believe that they are going to get a lot of payback in this one. And Danielle Hunter has a revenge game here, and he's going to show them why they should have gave him that money. Between him and Will Anderson coming off them edges and the blitzes that they were showing to the Bears, it wasn't so much that they kept beating the tackles. It was even just the blitz pickup, because it just kept sending more than you could block. And that's going to be an issue for Minnesota, because Justin Jefferson, if he's hampered or injured in any kind of way, they don't really have much else. Aaron Jones, still very good. I see why Green Bay had to make a choice between him and somebody else, but I see why they went with the younger option in Josh Jacobs. That makes sense for them. But Minnesota, Kevin O'Connell's a good offensive coach, and maybe he can, get Sam Darnold to being a quality quarterback, or, a good quarterback, as I'll say. But I don't see them beating Houston. I got to be honest here. Houston should be able to win this game by a field goal, and this is going to be my second lock of the week. And who you got?
Yeah, I already texted y'all. So yeah, I think I saw that. I think I put Minnesota. Yeah, I did. I got Minnesota. I'm taking this one, and I'm taking the 2.5 points on this one, and making this my second lock of the week. I keep saying it earlier with y'all guys that I have Sam Darnold being the comeback player. I doubt he's going to get it, because he's coming back from the bench. But yeah, I'm going to definitely go with Minnesota in this one. And like I said, it's going to be my lock. But last week, y'all saw that catch with Justin Jefferson. That thing was sick. That deep ball that Sam Darnold just gave to him, whatever.
It was the 97-yard TD. That was crazy. It's Justin Jefferson making him look good, because I got to be honest. It felt like he just threw that up, and like Jefferson just went and got it.
It was a good throw. It was a good throw. It was legitimately 55, 60 yards in the air.
Oh yeah, man's got an arm.
Yeah.
Man's got
It
an
just
arm.
it just made me feel that if I actually had an arm, because I could barely throw 5 yards, but if I actually had an arm, I would look at like a superstar in the NFL with Justin Jefferson
Hmm.
in.
Illusions of grandeur. I think they have medicine for that.
Yeah, it's called steroids.
Next, we're going to talk about my least favorite coach in the NFL, Sean Payton, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Wow, it went from my least favorite coach to your least favorite coach.
I mean, he's your least favorite because he was talking trash about he was talking about trash about the guy he replaced. And, he just looked bad all last year. Like, thinks Russ is cooked. Maybe. But I'm starting to realize maybe you're not that good of a coach and Drew Brees was carrying you this whole time. I would like to say you only won one Super Bowl with that guy. So how good are you? I'm just
Hey,
saying.
if he wasn't getting fired, he can join what's his name, John Gruden on YouTube, saying Y2 bananas all day and right on the board.
Gruden trying to get that job back, which is just ridiculous to me. But I'm gonna make this quick. Tampa Bay is at home. They should beat the brakes off of them. Somehow the over-under on this is only 40. I don't expect Denver to score a point. They traded Jerry Jeudy. Their best receiver is Cortland Sutton. Greg Dulcich, their tight end, is hurt. He did not practice today. He only played, I want to say, 2 or 3 games last year. So that's going to be another big blow for them because he's probably a good blocker. It appears Tampa Bay not only has one good running back in Rachaad White, but their rookie, Bucky, forgot his last name, make a run. So, yeah, Tampa Bay has a good quarterback, a good defensive head coach, and they may have Patrick Surtain in Denver, but that's all they got. So I don't see how Tampa does not win this game and win it handily. I would take the over. I think that it's going to beat the brakes off of them. It's going to be a New Orleans Saints kind of game. The NFC South is back, and Tampa's going to be 3-0. Malik, who you got?
Yeah, the only thing that gives me cause to pause with respect to Tampa Bay is Vita Vea being out, potentially out. He did get hurt in the game against Detroit last week, and looks like he's questionable with a knee for this game. But even if he's out, with them missing a bunch of people already on the defensive side of the field, Antoine Winfield Jr. is out. I mentioned that last time. Luke Gedeke, their offensive tackle, is out. Kalijah Cansey's out. There's a lot of guys missing, but they seem to have been able to replace them pretty handily with the guys that they had. I was really impressed by how well they played defensively last week in Detroit against my Lions, and I think that that's going to carry over into another home game for them. With the amount of pressure and the blitzes that Todd Bowles and that defense likes to bring, I think it's going to cause problems for Bo Nix as a rookie quarterback and make things very difficult for him on that side of the ball. I think Denver has, obviously I'm a little bit biased towards Sean Payton because he did coach the Saints, and I do like that. I'm a Saints supporter, but I do think that he's in the midst of rebuilding a roster that he didn't necessarily, think was the best built, group, and he's in the midst of doing that. And then this kind of comes with the territory with respect to the struggles early on. So I'm willing to give him at least another year for the team to show growth around him as the head coach. But I think this is going to be a struggle for them because Tampa's a really good team. I said this last week. I think Tampa's a really good team. They're a playoff team. They're probably going to win the division, or at the very least, they'll be right there in the mix of this division. And they offer a lot, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And Baker Mayfield is not making mistakes. He's playing very, very good, very solid football, damn near Pro Bowl level. If you being honest. So yeah, I roll with Tampa as well. I'll give the 6.5 points. I don't have any problems doing that because I think this team can score and defensively they can get stops. So I'll go ahead and take Tampa, and this will be my first lock of the week.
All right, Ant, who you take?
You see what Malik did there, right, Ace? He
What's
said
that?
Saint supporter. He didn't say, I'm a fan and just jump to a different team like you kind of did last year.
You can
But
be
anyway,
fans of multiple teams.
yeah, okay. But anyway, I'm gonna go with Tampa Bay in this one. I'm going to take Tampa Bay, and I'm going to go with the under in this one. Denver still has a rookie quarterback, and Todd Bowles is obviously is a defensive coach. You have to look into those type of situations. Defensive coaches do match up well against rookie quarterbacks, so I'm going to go with them taking Tampa Bay and taking the under. And who was that dude that got his behind shook by Baker Mayfield last week, Malik? That lion dude that broke his ankles.
Oh, I think you're talking about Alex Anzalone.
Oh, okay. Dang,
Yeah.
that was horrible.
Yeah.
I felt bad for that dude.
Oh, no. That was no, I'm sorry. That was Rodriguez. That was Rodrigo. Yeah, number 44.
Dang, it felt like a little kid who was playing Madden against him and just whoop, whoop,
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
I can't even picture me feel like he's doing that until I saw that. But anyway,
And you know the worst part? The worst part is it looked so like clumsy by Baker. Like
right,
Baker looked clumsy and it still worked. It's
right.
like, oh God.
That's why I said it looked like a little kid was playing Madden. It was like you just didn't know what he was doing and just happened. Like, oh look, it worked.
Yeah, it's like they were playing Madden, but he didn't actually use the juke button. Like he
right,
didn't use the actual button that you use to make the animation that looks good. He just
right. He just used the joystick.
He just kind of used the joystick, and it's just weird.
But it worked though.
Horrible. It worked. Yeah, no, it worked. It definitely worked.
We got Phil. Oh, go ahead.
No. Anyway, back to you. Sorry about that.
Sorry. Philadelphia at New Orleans. 1:00 game. New Orleans is on fire. 2-0. Philadelphia gave away a win by not kicking those 2 field goals in the first quarter, getting those points. Saquon dropping the ball. Do they redeem themselves against the Saints? Saints are on fire. Apparently, Derek Carr is a good quarterback. John Gruden's out of his mind. He ruined that team. And Dennis Allen to save this one. They got a good OC. Malik, who you got?
They got a good OC
-3.
now. They got a good OC now. The
Okay.
OC last year was not good. I can't remember the guy's name. I remember when I was at the Saints game last year when they played the Lions, talking to some Saints fans who were absolutely ready to pack that man's bags and get him out of town. And so now that he's been replaced, we see the variance and the differences in the offense. I like the Saints here. I like the Saints. It's funny because, to me, if you would have told me a month ago that week 3, Philadelphia in New Orleans, that the New Orleans Saints would be favored over this Philadelphia Eagles team coming into this game, I would have told you were a damn liar. Like I would have told you that was a damn lie. And that the New Orleans Saints would be the undefeated team walking into this game and not the Philadelphia Eagles. Like I would have told you you're lying, and that's complete bullshit. But it's the case. It's true. The Eagles are dealing with some injuries too, right? They're dealing with, obviously, AJ Brown missed last week's game against Atlanta. Likely going to miss this game as well. CJ Gardner-Johnson got himself hurt during that game against Atlanta last Monday. This is a short week for them. Obviously, they played Monday night, so they're on a short week going to New Orleans, and New Orleans is a tough place to play, especially when the Saints are good. And the Saints right now, despite all of their injury issues on this side for them, they're actually a really good team. They're actually playing some really good ball, and they're scoring really, really well. And that doesn't bode well for a Philadelphia team that lives off of their run game. If the Saints can score some points, and this Philadelphia defense looks to be a bit of a sieve in that regard and being able to give up points. If the Saints can score some points and force Jalen Hurts to have to throw the ball in order to move the offense, then I think they've got something here. I like a high scoring game here. I would play the over. I think to me that's the best play in here. But if I'm picking a team, I'm going to take the Saints and the over. I like this game to approach 30 points on both sides. Both teams to approach 30 points in this game. So I'll take the Saints and the over.
That's fair. Saints don't have a great defense. Well, actually, let me not say that because they shut down Dallas last week.
Yeah, it's a good defense. They do have they've always had a solid defense. It's not spectacular. Marshawn Lattimore has actually still been out. Tyrann Mathieu got hurt last week. against Dallas. He may play, so they do have some pretty good defensive players on that side of the ball. But the story of this team so far, these first 2 weeks, has been their offense. Their offense has been remarkably better.
And I would say the biggest thing that's shown to me is their offensive line. Because the fact that they were able to stop the Cowboys' pass rush is impressive, because their pass rush is better than the Eagles.
Yeah, exactly.
And Darius Slay Jr. kind of showed he may not be the best cover corner in the NFC East, and let alone against the Saints, who have a number of receivers that will, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, they have shown to be very good weapons coming out of, on the outside. And Kamara's still got some juice. So I'm taking the Saints with my third lock of the week. I think it's just a high-scoring game. It'll probably get to the 50s. I'm expecting both teams to score between 2 to 3 touchdowns apiece, maybe even 4. Yeah, I'd say about 4 touchdowns, maybe four touchdowns for the Saints, 3 touchdowns for the Eagles. Saints win. Saquon can't do everything, and they're going to be able to do the double. They're going to be able to double Devonta Smith. A.J. Brown's going to need to be able to play and make a huge difference. Hurts didn't have a bad game, but it just didn't go their way. And the head coach is getting second-guessed a lot, so the vibes are terrible in Philly. But give me the Saints on this one. I have faith. I'm betting on their offense and the fact that their defense will hold up against the pass, and Saquon can't do everything by himself. Go ahead, Ann.
Yeah, it's going to be a triple threat for all of us. I'm taking the Saints too. I'm taking it over in this one. Not only the Eagles are injured and stuff like that, they still have to prove to me that they got their minds right. I don't know if y'all noticed, the real reason why the Eagles coach was pissed off last week is because they was trying to draw the I forgot who was playing last week, but anyway, they was trying to draw them off sides. Atlanta, right? They was trying to draw Atlanta's defense off sides, and the left guard, and I believe it was the left guard and the left tackle was supposed to at least jump so they can draw that offsides and show that that they flinched because of them. They didn't do it, and the coach was basically pissed off at them so much. If they would have did that, they would have basically locked in the game and won. But anyway, I digress. I'm taking the Saints. I'm taking the over in this one. This is my lock. This is another lock for me. And also, I think I don't know if I said it, but I'm actually taking to Tampa Bay game as well as my lock as well.
All right. Next up, we got the Chargers at the Steelers. Steelers are favored by 1.5 at home. The over/under is 35.5 points. I'm locking in the Steelers. The Chargers are somehow 2-0. 2-0 teams. The Steelers don't score a lot of points, but they always come through. They won the last 2 weeks for me. I went 2-3 in my locks of the week last week. Indy lost. San Francisco lost, and Kansas City did not cover. Pittsburgh and the Bears both covered. Pittsburgh was my lock of the week. My super lock, if I put anything on it. I said put your kids' college fund on that, and hopefully you doubled it if you listen to me. So let's make some more money and stick with Pittsburgh on this one. Both of these teams are going to run the holy hell out of the ball. The only difference is that the Steelers' defense is just a little bit better than the Chargers. And it's finally starting to get cold, and the Chargers are coming from LA. They got Mack and Bosa are both dealing with injuries. I don't even know if Joey Bosa is going to play. Justin Fields does not need to throw the ball. It looks like he's going to start because they're letting Russell Wilson get fully healthy before they give him a chance to play. I think Steelers get to 3-0, and they may actually be able to steal this division because Cincinnati and Baltimore both have not yet won a game. So we will see. So I'm locking in the Steelers. Malik, who you got?
2-0 Chargers. The Chargers are the quietest 2-0 team I know that I think I've seen in the NFL thus far this year. I don't think anybody knew they were 2-0 until you looked up the set, until you look at it. If you're not a Chargers fan, how they're 2-0 is actually pretty shocking to me.
Yeah, I didn't even know you just said it.
They don't, they don't offer anything. There's no explosiveness in their offense. And it's by design, right? Like
right.
Ace, you just mentioned, like they love to run the football, and They're keeping things close. They're not airing the ball out. Justin Herbert, despite his passing ability, he's not throwing the ball 40 times a game. Like, this is a team that's really shifted what they do. They shifted their identity and they shifted to what they do, and they become almost an AFC North team. Um, which is really, really interesting. But Pittsburgh's defense is better. Pittsburgh's defense is probably one of the top 3 to 5, groups in the entire NFL right now, or at least they're playing that way. And they're playing that way with guys like TJ Watt playing absolutely lights out. They've got a young secondary that's playing really well right now as well. And suffice it to say, Justin Fields, he hasn't looked great, but he's played some mistake-free football. He hasn't made the mistakes. He hasn't made the big errors. He's running with the football when the opportunity presents itself. He's getting the ball out to his receivers, Pickens and the guy on the other side. When he needs to get the ball to them. And Najee Harris and Jalen Warren have been serviceable as running backs. Like, nothing impressive. This is probably going to be the most boring game of the entire slate, because both of these teams are going to try to do exactly the same thing. They're just going to run the ball 35 times and try to play good defense on the other side and hope it stays close. And so because of that, 1.5 points, I'll take the Steelers. I'll take the Steelers to win this, 21-18, something like that, 21-17, something along those lines, and keep the game close, muck it up a little bit, and get themselves to 3-0. Which, again, same situation. If you told me a month ago the Pittsburgh Steelers, after everything that has going on, we're going to be 3-0, and Justin Fields was going to be the starting quarterback, I would have told you you're a damn liar. So this is just a really, really interesting start to the season for them, and I'm happy for Tomlin. I'm happy for the team. And yes, keep Russell Wilson out until he's healthy. And even if you're cooking with Fields, might as well keep the kid in there. So I'll take Pittsburgh in the under as well.
All right, Ant, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going to take Pittsburgh at the under, and I also have to apologize for when I was on here on the show, was week 1 or whatever. It was saying that basically I was just saying that Pittsburgh was done. I thought they was done because they had 2 quarterback system type of thing. We didn't really know what was going to really happen with them. I didn't really see anything happening with the team. I thought they was going to be like a last place maybe, but that's how it goes with the NFL. You have to look at these games first, couple of weeks, and see how things turn around. There's a lot of surprises there, but definitely going to take Steelers. I'm taking the under on this one. And let me see if I think I had this one of my locks. Yeah, I did have this one of my locks.
Yeah, the Steelers are my was it fourth lock?
Yeah, this is my third. Now I was just looking at the text I sent you. Yeah, I have the Steelers as my lock on this one. And
Gotcha.
both teams are other old school teams. But one thing I do want to talk about now, since I'm definitely switching sides here. A couple of weeks ago I was going against the Steelers or whatever. We got to give a big ups to Mike Tomlin. Whatever we might be putting him as the greatest coach of all time, but he's definitely damn near close.
He's never had a losing season.
Never had a losing season. This is the type of coach that every team, if he gets fired, 5 minutes later, he'll be on another team hired as the coach. Everybody knows that going well. But definitely give it up to him. He's definitely a Hall of Fame coach.
Exactly. He will be a Hall of Fame coach, first ballot. We're going to skip Carolina, Vegas. If Carolina wins that game, it'll be a miracle. I'm imagining everybody's survivor pick is going to be Vegas, kind of like it was Baltimore last week. I got knocked out of my survivor pool because Baltimore decided to just give away the game. So I'm tight. But yeah.
That's your favorite team, though. Baltimore's your favorite team.
I'd keep picking against Vegas every week. The Bears are my favorite team. How dare you? We are moving right along to Baltimore, 0-2 at 1-1. Dallas, the game of the week. See Tom Brady call another bad game. Ant, you can go first on this one.
Well, I'm going to go with Dallas in this one. Dallas is definitely upset. That was they definitely want to prove that last week was a fugazi game, if you want to use an old school term. But I'm going to take with Dallas, and I'm going to take the under in this one. Baltimore's still a good team. hopefully sooner or later they actually start using their weapons. The guy who can run and be the running back in the back. Your number one tight end and stuff like that. Wink, wink, fantasy. But anyway, I'm going to go with Dallas in this one, and I don't know if I had this as a lock here. I don't see it. No, I don't have this as a lock. But anyway, that's my pick.
All right. I'm going the opposite way. I like Baltimore.
Of course you do, like you did last year.
I think they have a better quarterback, two-time MVP. They have a much more. I mean, the first week of the season, I get them losing to Kansas City, but it was a close loss. Last week, they somehow just gave the game away. Justin Tucker is the only kicker to miss from 50 yards this season so far, which is amazing to me. He'll make everything under 50 yards, but maybe they need somebody for long distance, and Tucker's just getting a little long in the tooth. This is his 12th year in the league, so I don't expect him to hit everything. Roquan Smith is playing with an injury, so they're giving him some more rest time. I think they need to go to more 12 personnel, do some more double tight end sets, and just run the ball down Dallas's throat. Lamar's good running. He's not taking any big hits. I think Dallas is kind of reeling after losing last week, so both of these teams are going to be pressing a little bit early, so we will see. Dallas's defense should be better because I do like Mike Zimmer as a defense coordinator, but somehow John Harbaugh is 0-2 for the first time in a long time, and Lamar feels like he saved his job. So Lamar's going to have to start playing a little less hero ball and trusting his receivers and making some accurate throws early. They got to get a lead and hold the lead, so we will see. Dak, they don't have much of a running game. I think that'll make it very easy for Baltimore to kind of tee off on them on defense. So I'm taking Baltimore -1. They just need to eke out a close victory. So lock that in as my last lock of the week. Malik.
Yeah, I'm going Baltimore and locking this in as well. Couple quick things. Number one, Lamar Jackson is 20-1 straight up and over the course of his career. He's 20-1 against NFC opponents. So that's really good. He plays really well against NFC teams. Dallas showed even last year. Dallas showed that they are vulnerable against teams that run the football, especially teams that run the football straight at them, and they don't try to run to the edges, because that's where the strength of Dallas's defense is on the edges, not not up the middle. So, a team like the Baltimore Ravens that is going to run the football directly at you with Derrick Henry and that big rushing attack, and they're not going to, they don't need to mess around and try to have Lamar Jackson throw the ball 35, 40 times. This is a game script. This is a game script for them. This is a game script that, works in their favor. And I think the two losses, at least to this point, you mentioned, Ace, the Justin Tucker thing. He never misses field goals. He's missing field goals.
Yeah.
The KC game came down to a toe in the back of the end zone. Like, a lot of this has just been, some bad plays, but also just some bad luck. To me, this is not an 0-2 team. This is a really, really good, solid team that made a couple of small mistakes in games against really good teams. Vegas might be a better team than we thought, and KC is obviously the defending Super Bowl champion. So, I think Baltimore walking into this, I think that the line is showing this, right? Baltimore's on the road in Dallas and they're favored, right? This is like not a normal thing for them. Dallas has not yet shown the ability to dominate good opponents. That Cleveland game notwithstanding, Cleveland was not good in that game, and they had not been good for a while. When Dallas and Dak have to play against really good opponents, they have not been. They haven't like answered the call that much. So I'm gonna stay with the Ravens here. I think the Ravens are the team that gets off the mat and comes out of this with a win. Both these teams finish this game at 1-2, and I'll take Baltimore and I'll lock this in as my second lock of the week.
All right. We are all good on that one. We are moving on to, is it Cincinnati? No, it's not Cincinnati. We are moving on to the Battle of California. The Battle of California. LA versus San Francisco. 0-2 Rams versus the 1-1 Niners. The Niners are dealing with a bunch of injuries. McCaffrey is on IR. He will not be playing. Deebo Samuel will not be playing. The Rams are going to be without Puka Nacua, and I believe Cooper Kupp, if he's going to play, he's playing with an injury.
No, he's on IR too.
Oh,
He's
Cooper
out
Kupp
too,
is on
yeah.
IR. So all the stars are out. I don't even know who the Rams have left to play wide receiver besides DeMarcus Robinson. That's even the right Robinson.
It is.
It is. Okay. So he's the only wide receiver that I can name for them. And it's not looking great for Matt Stafford and company. Their offensive line isn't doing very well. They were able to get some points on the Lions. San Francisco still has Bosa and a really good pass rush, and the Niners got a much better defense. The Niners are favored by 6.5 on the road. I don't really see a path to victory for the Rams, so I'm leaning towards the Niners. But genuinely, this is not a game that I would want to bet. I would take the under here on the over-under because it's 44.5. And I think it's going to be under that. But yeah, San Francisco seems like a pretty good pick for the survivor pool if they didn't already screw you last week and you're still in it somehow. But Malik, who you got?
I mean, I'm a little shocked by this line. I get, what you were saying, Ace, about the Rams being beat up on both sides of the ball. And they're coming off of a really bad loss. They're 0-2 right now, obviously, and they're coming off of a really bad loss against the Cardinals team where they lost 41-10. Like they got smoked in that game. And so yeah, it doesn't shock me that they are underdogs at home with those two things in mind. But I am a little shocked at this line not being a little bit closer. The Rams, they play San Francisco well. They play San Francisco close. They tend to typically do that. And to your point, San Francisco's banged up pretty much everywhere. George Kittle didn't practice. We got heard reports earlier today that he didn't practice Wednesday or Thursday, and he's likely to miss the game. So there's a lot of reasons to kind of look at this game and say.
So the only player playing for them is Ayuk, who's a normal starter.
Ayuk and Jawan Jennings. Yeah, Jawan Jennings he's typically the third receiver on the team, and so he'll be lined up, doing probably doing some of the Debo work. And they're going to be running a more traditional offense. I think this is going to put a lot of pressure. Obviously, I think this is putting a lot of pressure on Brock Purdy to really show that he is the steward of the offense that people believe him to be, and he's not just kind of along for the ride and getting the ball out to these great, wonderful talents on the outside. If he's able to kind of weather the storm for this team, I think that bodes well for his contract situation, coming up next year. So I think they win the game, but I don't like this number. I think 6.5 is a bit much to give to Matt Stafford and this offense and Sean McVay, who can figure out how to keep this game close and figure out how to make things difficult for a banged up San Francisco 49ers team. So I'll take the Rams. It's not a best bet for me. I'll take the Rams just because I want the points here. I think this game plays a little bit closer. I think San Francisco still wins the game, but I could definitely see this playing a little bit closer and ending somewhere around say 23-17, something like that. And San Francisco just eking this out. So I'll take the Rams. I like that 6.5 points.
I got you. Ant, who did you pick?
I didn't pick nobody yet.
Oh.
But I was listening to Malik, and it's kind of scary. I think he's kind of right on this. I might have to side with him because you don't see no weapons or whatever on either team. Basically, it's just basically want to see what is going to be quarterback versus quarterback. Versus their okay defenses on each side. But one thing I'm stealing from, I forgot who it was. So sorry, I can't give credit. I was going to do it anyway. But just like how Malik was saying earlier, this time that the 49ers can actually evaluate Purdy, put him in the box to see, if we should be paying him or we should be looking for outside of somebody else. Maybe we might be paying somebody else later on, instead of or drafting somebody to take his spot. But anyway, we'll see exactly what happened in this one. Just for giggles and stuff like that. I know I'm going against the grain. Going against the grain of my better thoughts. I'm just gonna go the opposite way. But if you guys are quite listening to what I'm saying here, I actually agree more with Malik. But just for kicks or whatever, and since we're technically going against each other and trying to see who's the better picks and stuff like that, I'm gonna shake it up a little bit here. So I'm gonna go with 49ers, and I'll take the under this one.
All right. We got 3 games left. I would say 2 of them people care about. So I'm going to make we're going to focus on the Kansas City Atlanta game. Jags versus Buffalo. I'm going to make this quick pick. I don't see how the Jags win this game. They're 0-2. It looks like they're going to go 0-3. That's the first of the Monday night doubleheader, which I didn't realize they did in week 3. I was kind of expecting it the first week of the season with the East Coast.
Yeah, that's definitely the horrible game.
Yeah, usually they do it with an East Coast game and a West Coast game. So I figured if there was going to be a Monday Night Football game, it would have been, Rams Niners because they're in California and they could have started the game at 9:30 and let both games play out. But they have 2 East Coast teams, which is kind of odd. They got Washington at Cincinnati. Cincinnati only matters because they're 0-2. T. Higgins finally started practicing. I don't see Washington being able to pull off the miracle they did last week and, kicking 7 field goals and somehow beating a team that they gave up 3 TDs to at home. My man hasn't thrown a touchdown pass yet. And I don't know if it's going to happen against Cincinnati. Cincinnati's defense finally came online. Cincinnati is favored by 7.5. I don't like that number, so I'm not really going to bet that game, but I would take the under on that on the 47.5. Cincinnati's got a good defensive line, but they don't have Washington doesn't have great cover corners, and Jamar Chase should be able to go off on this one. But Sunday Night Football, I think, is the most important game because Kirk Cousins can actually move, as he showed last week against Philadelphia. He can get the ball around. So Kansas City is going to Atlanta. 2-0 KC. Atlanta's 1-1. The NFC South is back. Malik, you're a resident of the state of Georgia.
You represent?
You go first. And you know who the head coach is, as we established last week with Levon. So
I do know who the head coach is. Raheem Morris is the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, and the Atlanta Falcons. They showed something. They showed something against Philly. That wasn't a game I expected them to win. I think we all picked against them in that game. They did not look good.
They should have lost.
They were at home against. Yeah, I was in. They did not look good the last time they were home against Pittsburgh. And for the most part of that Philly game, they didn't look great. Defensively, they did. Defensively, they've actually looked like a capable team on that side of the ball. And that's been good. They have, I mentioned, like they have solid players at all 3 levels of the defense for them. So it's not surprising that the defense is actually pretty good. The scary thing was really that the offensively, they just looked slow and kind of, just not dynamic as an offense with, and with all of that talent that they had, all the skill position talent they had, everybody laid it at the feet of Kirk Cousins. And the real situation is Kirk Cousins took advantage of the opportunities that Philadelphia gave him, and they got out there with a win. I think that's pretty good play for them on this week as well. I don't think Kansas City is going 17-0. And so to me, if there's a game for them to lose, it's a game like this where they're going on the road in Atlanta against a team that can score the football and can defend, pretty well, especially at home, and has shown the ability to defend. I think Kansas City's going to feel the loss of Isaiah Pacheco. Him not being there and him not being there for a fair amount of time. I don't feel great about the running backs that are behind him on the depth chart. I don't even know if Clyde Edwards-Helaire is still on this team. He may be.
He's on IR.
Okay, so he's on IR.
NF5, not football injury list.
Yeah, so they've got Samaje Perine. And Steele, was it Carson Steele? He's a rookie.
Carson Steele, the rookie out of Ball State.
Yeah, he's a rookie. So I don't feel great about that. I feel like that's the inability to run the football. If Atlanta's able to prevent them from making anything happen on that side of the football, then forcing Patrick Mahomes to beat them with his arm. Obviously, we know that he can do it, and I'm not saying that he won't, but I think this will allow Atlanta to utilize their weapons, keep this game relatively close, and potentially even pull it out. Pull out a victory late in this game. I wouldn't pick them to win the game straight up, although the money line is a little enticing to pick Atlanta on the money line. But I definitely like them getting 3 points. So I'm going to take Atlanta at home, getting 3 points, and I'm going to make this my third and final lock of the week.
All right. I'm taking Atlanta as well. Atlanta's getting 3 at home. If there's going to be an upset, this might be it, but I don't know how much of an upset this really is. I would also like to say, I think I kind of went past Detroit at Arizona. I like Arizona's offense. Arizona's defense is not really showing me much because all of the teams they've beaten, which are the Rams, and the other team that they competed against was Buffalo, and they gave up a ton of points in Buffalo. But their offense is definitely for real. The Lions may have problems going east to west, but Detroit is in the Eastern time zone, as crazy as that sounds. Arizona's all the way out west, but Arizona does not have daylight savings time. So they're only going back 2 hours, which is somehow weird because they're on mountain time. I like Arizona at home getting points. It's really the number. It's 3 right now, which I think it's going to sit at. It might be -2.5 on some of the sports books. But yeah, if I had to pick that one, I'd go with Arizona. I would not take either of those teams for a survivor pick unless you just really like sweating it out. Both of these teams are 1-1, and whoever wins this will put them in good position to be able to actually make a run for the playoffs. Somehow, the Bears and the Lions are both looking up at the Minnesota Vikings, who everybody picked to finish last in the NFC North to go to the playoffs. So neither team is leading that division, but I don't know. That will probably be the best game to watch. I don't expect I don't know, Dallas. Well, you're gonna have to have Sunday ticket to get that one, but I do like the fact that they broke up the afternoon games and the morning games, so we have about 4 or 5 in the afternoon window. Because last week there were only 3, so there really wasn't much going on. And do you want to pick that one, Detroit, Arizona?
I want to talk about both of them. First, the Detroit game. Last time I think everybody kind of forgot who Detroit's coach is. They're gonna smack fire out of Arizona. Come on now, David Nolan's gonna get smacked down. I know Marvin Harrison Jr. is actually looking kind of good, but this is Detroit now. This is hard, gritty team. They basically represent Campbell. They're gonna have a good defense. They're not gonna be playing around especially from what happened last week. Take Detroit on this one. I'm taking Detroit and the under this one. As far as for Kansas City versus who are they playing again?
Kansas City is playing Atlanta.
Atlanta. Yeah, just to let you guys know, Carson Steele is the starter so far right now. P. Ryan is the backup. Then you have whoever this Ingram guy is, and then Clyde Edwards-Helaire is all the way 4th, but he's just listed as out. But anyway, I'm going to take Kansas City. The reason why I'm taking Kansas City and going against is that only just because I'm going against y'all, just for hopefully I can go past y'all since I kind of missed last week. I'm going to take Kansas City because of that, because Kansas City has this magical thing called what's her name? What's her name again? Taylor Swift. Yeah, that she's always showing up for some strange reason, and for some strange reason they always have the magical side of the refs when it comes to primetime and getting these calls. Y'all might think I'm lying, but we'll see what happens this week. Quite another team is going to a team fan base going to be calling Kansas City and the refs, and the Taylor Swift showing up thing. We all know it's a show.
Taylor Swift gives them an advantage in winning the game.
You don't? For some strange reason, she just shows up and it's also this prime time. Quite all these little housewives that drink quite box wives wine come out of nowhere and stuff like that. Start watching football.
What are you talking about? Housewives and box wine? What?
Yeah, but anyway, I'm just throwing things off here. But my Magic 8 Ball is back, baby. But anyway, I'm gonna go with KC, and I'm taking the over in this one because they're just gonna go crazy because the ref's gonna help them out. That's my crackpot theory of the week.
I will say, normally this is a game that Kansas City, I expect them to win. Maybe I'm prisoner of the moment, but I got to be honest. The fact that I saw Atlanta be able to beat a team like Philadelphia, and I don't know how much better Kansas City's defense is than Philadelphia's. They clearly do have Chris Jones up the middle, but in terms of their secondary, I don't see them being so much better. And Cousins is really good at play action, so that should help him out.
I don't know, because this is just for being serious though, but this is KC in primetime. Yeah. And for some strange, I'm telling you, I see them
Kirk Cousins isn't good in primetime. That's fair.
Not only Kirk Cousins not good at primetime.
11 and 22.
The refs wear red and white. I'm telling
my
you,
God.
you just
You
don't
need to
see
cut
it.
this
It's
out.
dark red.
First you used to complain about Tom Brady getting all the calls. Now you complain about Mahomes getting all the calls. It sounds like
Am I wrong?
you are. Yeah, literally. It sounds like you're a
Wow.
sore loser, is what it sounds like. That's what I
Yeah,
was.
okay.
But
We'll see what happens this Sunday.
you know,
Prime time.
we will see. You know what? Yeah, I'm taking Atlanta. Whatever. I'm taking the 3 points. But yeah, that's not a great game to bet. If you're a Falcons fan, at least you know you got Kirk Cousins until Michael Penix Jr. is ready to take over. If you're a Jags fan, I feel sorry for you. I don't see much hope. I don't see much hope.
Yeah.
The Bills should beat
Yeah.
them down. If somehow the Bills lose this game, because I imagine that's going to be everybody's survivor pick. That's going to be insane. Malik,
Jaguars looking like a lottery team.
you got anything? You got a good game you want to talk about before we get up out of here? Do these shout outs?
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk about Detroit, Arizona real quick.
Oh yeah,
Obviously,
my bad.
as a
Go ahead.
Lions fan, I'll talk about my team.
As the Lions homer, yeah. Who do you got?
I just want to say I was right on my pick of them in week one.
You were.
I picked them to win week one, and I was right on my pick against them in week two. I did say I believed that they would win the game, and I actually, probably up until that last drive, I actually thought they could win the game, but I figured that they would not. I thought that line was just ridiculously favored in the direction of Detroit, and I thought it was disrespectful to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay proved me right that they are the really good team that I believed that they were. Arizona's a little different. I think Ace, you definitely made a good point about Arizona's defense. They have not been a great defense thus far this season.
They haven't been good.
They have been a really good offense. And Kyler Murray is showing that he can still do some really fantastic things with the football when he has time, and even when he doesn't have time, he's just really good at kind of manufacturing offense and extending plays and all that stuff. And the Lions have proven to have difficulties with quarterbacks that can extend the play, that can get outside of the pocket, that can do things with their legs. Because the Lions defense, despite the fact that they did play solidly against Tampa Bay last week, and they did play pretty well in the first game against the Rams as well. They do struggle with gap protection. They struggle with maintaining their gaps and rushing up the field a little bit too much and allowing the quarterback, when it's a mobile quarterback, to step up into the pocket and then make plays with his legs. Matt Stafford wasn't able to do it in week one because Matt Stafford is just not that mobile, but Baker Mayfield was able to do it, and that his running ability and his ability to extend plays wound up being the thing that won them that game last week against us. That said, Detroit's offense has not looked very good these first two games. This is the week that I think that they get things on track. This is the third week, technically like the third preseason game, if you want to call it, for them. This is the third week of the season. The offense seemed to get a little bit, better last week against Tampa Bay as they were able to move the ball up and down the field. They just couldn't score in the red zone, which I think is more about Tampa Bay's defense than the Lions' offense. I think this week, Sam Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Montgomery, Gibbs, those guys get things rolling and make some plays. And we also saw the emergence of Tim Patrick as that X receiver that the Lions have been missing since Josh Reynolds left the team last season. So I think this is a good bounce back for them. I think Detroit gets this victory here. I will gladly give the 3 to Arizona. I do think Arizona's a good team, but I think right now, I think their defense just doesn't have the same dogs on that side of the field that can keep a good Detroit Lions offense away from getting to the end zone. So I'll pick the Lions. I'll give the 3, and I'm going to go with the over on this one. Over under right now is 51. I think this one goes a little bit over because I think both these teams get at or near 30 points.
Super high scoring game. All right. I feel you on that one. That should be a good one to watch. We're going into our shout outs. Ant, what you got for your shout outs?
Shout out to Drake Nate. He's just about to make a start. I'm going to put that in there. Shout out to Aaron Rodgers because you think he was high on something while he was playing a good game. Shout out to
He's not going to play, you mean?
Oh, yeah, he's going to play. My fault, not start. But anyway, shout outs to Derek Carr. Unfortunately, he got the fine for this, but that was a cool touchdown dance that he did with the Michael Jackson dance. Shout outs to him on that one. That was badass. He shows that you can have a personality be a quarterback. Shout outs to him on that one. Shout outs to quite us here because we're back and all three of us for the first time. Shout outs for that. That's really it. I don't really have that much because I kind of technically just popped in. I didn't even really was planning to be here, but wanted to show up.
Yeah. Shout out to all of our listeners. Shout out to everybody who's downloading the pod. Please like and subscribe. That really helps us out here and gets us noticed a lot more. I'm noticing a lot more people from overseas are listening. So shout out to everybody in India, China, and Germany who are listening and downloading this. And shout out to all those college football fans who are following me and paying attention to my picks. I appreciate y'all. There's two more that I want to say. Washington State, they're at home against San Jose State. They're going to beat them by 12.5, easy. And I like Rutgers getting 3.5 against Virginia Tech. I don't have much faith in Virginia Tech. And also, I would say Toledo, who just came off of a big victory over Mississippi State and didn't just beat them, but beat them down on them. They're playing Western Kentucky on the road. They're -2.5 on the road. I think Toledo is probably going to win the MAC conference, and they're going to challenge for that Group of 5 spot. And the MAC is looking good this year because they got a couple of wins versus these alleged power schools who are really just, fundraising for I don't know what, so they can be mediocre in football and other random sports they like to play. Shout out to my Bears, and shout out to Eli Manning for coming out in support of Man U because they're going to be playing a team that Tom Brady also owns in the EPL.
And he got nominated for the Pro Bowl. I mean, for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he shouldn't make it on the first ballot, but he probably likely will because he's a Manning and they like him. We went through that last week. LeVon called me a hater, but I pointed out that they have this thing on Pro Football Reference that gives them the Hall of Fame grade, and Eli Manning is a little low on that. He's at 85 right now, which is actually lower than Ben Roethlisberger, but we're not going to go into that. If you really want to make the case for him, you can. I get it. But the man never won a playoff game outside of the 2 Super Bowl runs, which is kind of amazing. So
he'll make the Giants Ring of Honor.
He's in the Giants Ring of Honor. That's true. Yeah, a lot of people in that Ring of Honor. But it matters. You win 2 Super Bowls, you're kind of a legend. So I can't sit here and say that he's not a bad player. It's just the idea of being Hall of Fame means that you were great and kind of dominated during your time. And he gets more credit for beating Tom Brady than anybody else, which is very interesting to me. I think he's more likely to get in than Justin Tuck, but don't get me sidetracked on that. The point is that he shouldn't get in on the first ballot. But shout out to him for coming out and being petty and representing against Tom Brady again and rocking the Wrexham AFC jersey because Wrexham is playing Birmingham City Football Club. So shout out to Wrexham. I hope they win, and I hope they are able to keep this up. It's been interesting following that team. And shout out to the show Industry. That show goes so hard for no reason. That is my favorite show on HBO. I've been live tweeting and talking about it on Twitter. So come follow me at Aaron Teed if y'all want to see that. I'll be talking about there a lot. And y'all can follow me on there. And please like and subscribe on Podbean, wherever you get your podcasts. Malik, you got any shout outs?
Yeah, a couple. Yeah, Ace, you shouted out Eli Manning. I'm gonna shout out the little guy Arch Manning. I say the little guy because he's young, but I'm gonna shout out Arch Manning. Couple things just to note for him. So obviously he came into the game last week when Quinn Ewers, the starting quarterback for the University of Texas, went down. He came in and he did something that no UT player in school history had ever done. And that was throw for a 75-yard touchdown and then run for a 67-yard touchdown in the same game. Nobody's done that in the same game in school history. Yeah. Only Colt McCoy and Vince Young had done it in the same season in the school's history, but never done it in the same game. So in one game, he managed to do 3 things. Well, 2 things. One, he managed to throw a 75-yard pass and run for 67-yard, run a 67-yard run, break 2 records, in school history. And in one game, he became the favorite over Quinn Ewers for the Heisman.
Which is wild.
I shit you not. Quinn Ewers is now plus 1,800 for the Heisman, and Arch Manning is plus 1,600 after one game. One game. Okay.
It's
You
great to be a
actually have
Manning.
better odds betting Quinn Ewers, who was a Heisman Trophy, who was not only a Heisman Trophy, favorite coming into the season,
Yeah.
but a number one draft pick favorite coming into the season. Like he was going to be a high NFL draft pick, and after one game, Arch Manning has eclipsed him on most of those things. So shout out to him for the Manning name, and shout out to him for just being a Manning, because Ace was just talking about how much football just loves this family, and
they do though.
They continue to just love all the Mannings. But yeah, but it was a good game. I did watch that game too. I know we don't talk about baseball much here, but shout out to the Yankees for getting into the playoffs, securing themselves a playoff seed last night with a win against the Seattle Mariners in Seattle. They secured themselves at the very least a wild card. Obviously, that's not the ultimate goal. We want to win the AFC. They want to win the AL East, and we're on our way to doing that. So shout out to them for getting themselves into the playoffs. Cashing their ticket into the playoffs. With more to come.
Yes.
Shout out to Shohei Ohtani, who
6 for 6.
Who today broke he broke a record in Major League Baseball, being the first player in Major League Baseball history to hit 50 home runs and steal 50 stolen bases.
I think he broke his own record, right? Because he was at 48 or 49.
He was at 49, but so this is the first time it's ever happened, which is just interesting because 50 stolen bases doesn't sound like a lot. It's not a lot.
It's not.
With the number of stolen bases that have been stolen, over the years. But the 50 home runs to go with it is just very impressive.
The interesting point is how little he gets picked off whenever he tries to steal.
Yeah, he's just he's really fast, but he's really smart as a base stealer. And it just goes to show, most, over the history of baseball, especially we've been watching it, is most base stealers are not home run hitters. And most home run hitters are not base stealers. The only guy that I can even remember being good at both, the two guys I can remember being really good at both, were Ken Griffey Jr. and Barry Bonds. Those were the two that could definitely steal bases and
Alfonso Soriano.
Yeah, he had a 40-40 year. He did have that 40-40.
He had the best. He had 47 stolen bases, 42 home runs.
Yeah. But then he did nothing for the rest of his career. So I'm not gonna. He had that one really, really good year. Then he didn't really do much for the remainder. But anyway, so shout out to Shohei Ohtani. Obviously making it into the playoffs for the first time in his career as well, which is big news. Why he went to the Dodgers and left the Angels behind, because the Angels now they stink. So I'm looking forward to that Dodgers Yankees World Series. So let's keep it going on both sides, guys. Ace, you mentioned Ant, you mentioned shouting out Derek Carr for the MJ dance. I was going to shout him out as well, but the dance was incredible. Shout out to it was great. It was great. Right. It was a great moment in sports history that we're gonna roll with. Derek Carr getting to enjoy that, and doing it in Dallas was even better. And last but not least, with the WNBA getting ready to shift into their playoffs, shout out to the New York Liberty, #1 seed in the playoffs this year. And shout out to obviously the Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark, getting themselves into the playoffs. They were not deemed as a team at the beginning of the season that were going to be making a playoff run, but they did it. They did a really good job. They took care of business. And last but not least, we just watched the New York Jets win a football game that they were expected to win. Shout out to them. Shout out to Aaron Rodgers making it out of another game. This team looks like they're on their way to doing some big things.
We're gonna shout him out every time he just finishes a game healthy. Is this what we're doing?
That's what I'm gonna do. Every time he finishes a game, standing upright, because you know what, he's one of those guys. Every time he takes a hit, I cringe a little bit, because I just hope just get on up, dude. Just get on up.
You didn't hope that when he was in NFC, what's the name, when he was against the Lions, when he was playing against
because
Green Bay.
because
I always knew they would lose in the playoffs.
So. It has nothing to do with I never disliked Rodgers, right? I just disliked Rodgers and the Packers. But the fact is, he's because you know how much the Jets and like the Jet fans, how much Jet fans have been through. Like I said, I'm a Lions fan. I know how much the Jet fans have been through, and I want to see them be good, and I want to see this work out for them. They have tried this before. They tried it with Brett Favre. It didn't work. Now they're trying this for Aaron Rodgers. I want to see it work, and make the playoffs and make some noise and bring some fun back to New York football again. Because the Giants can't do it right now. They're not ready to do that. So it's got to be the
Jersey Giants.
It's good. It's good.
Until they win a game, they're the New Jersey Giants.
And shout out to young man Bryce Young. Keep your head up, dude. I don't know if you're going to get the ability to be able to start again in Carolina. You should ask out of that situation as fast as humanly possible. I hope
any quarterback that leaves, they do better. See that.
Never seen an entire industry of sports media turn on a franchise quicker than Carolina Panthers.
I really hope you're able to find a way to get out of that situation. Even if they like try, I wish you could find a way to like if they did like decide to pick up your 5th-year option, if you could deny it and like get yourself out of there faster, just give the money back and say no, I'm good. Wow. Let's get me out of Carolina as fast as humanly possible. Please do.
Where should he ask to go to? What team should be asking?
Anywhere but there.
I mean, how about the team that we're talking about in New York? How about the Giants, man? I mean, he can go there and play with neighbors and be part of the resurgence of that offense. I mean, I think
that's not really there.
I would take him over Daniel Jones.
Really?
Yeah,
that's shocking. Okay,
because Daniel Jones doesn't have a future in New York. It's not have to do with like New York, like whether or not he's better than Daniel Jones right now.
Yeah,
I don't think he is, but I think that Daniel Jones does not have a future in New York on the New York Giants.
Once you're done in New York, once you're done in New York, he can't come back. It's hard.
It's like it's at end. Once New York is done with you.
Yeah, you're right. That's what happened to Zach Wilson last year. That's what happened to Zach Wilson
once New York has decided that you are no longer the person that we want to be here, you're done. You're just effectively done. Like there's nothing you can do, and you're gone. So I think he'd be a better option there.
That's rough.
Oh, Ace.
Yeah,
I do have one more shout out. Shout out to the Jets rookie running back Braylon Allen. Rookie of the week. I know it's nothing usually, but he kind of did his thing last week, and he kind of did some kind of good tonight as well. I thought he was going to be rookie of the week again, but hey, shout out to him.
I would like to point out Daniel Jones played terrible in the first game against Minnesota. Went to Washington, threw 2 touchdown passes, threw for 178 yards on 28 attempts, which is about what they should be doing, throwing 30 times or less a game. And the Giants just couldn't kick they cannot kick an extra point. So I don't know. I think that
the kicker got hurt.
An emergency kicker.
So, what Daniel Jones should have did the offseason that would have made this team a whole lot better?
Learn how to kick?
No, gave some of his money back so the Giants can sign Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, nobody gives money back. I'm not going to feel bad for these billions.
Aaron Rodgers did last year.
Listen, after they fired the GM, Joe Schoen, maybe the fans can boo him.
I would have fired him after I saw that HBO special, the Hard Knocks thing.
But I'll tell you this. I find it unlikely that the Giants trade for Bryce Young. And if you know, you know.
Yeah.
We are out. So I'll talk to y'all later. Thank you for liking and subscribing and listening to us. And we'll be back with more episodes next week. We out.
Peace out, everybody.
Out like